Hi, I'm Zach.
I'm Zubair.
And welcome again to Harmony, in which we are going to continue the first word. We might finish it today, we might not finish it today. So, we are on page 16 of the first word from the Risale Nur collection of the words by Said Nursi. We will continue this very long paragraph, finish this very long paragraph, and go from there. So, from the bottom of page 16, the last paragraph, the sentence which begins with the roots and rootlets is where we'll read from.
Okay.
The roots and rootlets, soft as silk of plants, trees, and grasses say, in the name of God, and pierce and pass through hard rock and earth. Mentioning the name of God, the name of the most merciful, everything becomes subjected to them. The roots spreading through hard rock and earth and producing fruits as easily as the branches spread through the air and produce fruits, and the delicate green leaves retaining their moisture for months in the face of extreme heat, deal a slap in the mouths of naturalists and jab a finger in their blind eyes, saying, even heat and hardness, in which you most trust, are under a command. For like the staff of Moses, each of those silken rootlets conforms to the command of, and we said, O Moses, strike the rock with your staff, and splits the rock. And the delicate leaves, fine as cigarette paper, recite the verse, O fire, be cooled in peace against the heat of the fire, each like the members of Abraham, alayhi salam. So, long thing. There's some things that I understood and some things I didn't understand from this reading. We talked in the previous videos about different aspects of humanity.
Yep.
Now we're going to talk about, or this passage talks about the vegetable side of humanity, the side that looks towards his physical, material creation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have much to say about this.
Yeah. What we can understand from the text is kind of two aspects. One aspect is what we understand directly,
mm-hmm.
what I understand directly actually, and the second aspect is the aspect that looks towards the creation of the human, the Beşer side of the human.
Mm-hmm.
So we might understand both of the things. So we have kind of talked about the second part,
mm-hmm.
and the first part is kind of obvious. The roots and rootlets go through the earth
mm-hmm.
and find some water, whatever minerals they need, and etc. So it's kind of obvious. We cannot expect the things that they manage from themselves.
The roots should not be able to pass through hard rock
To find some water or what?
Okay, so that's the let's say the first meaning of this. The only thing I can add, and I don't want to go too deep in it, is that perhaps the water finding the minerals in these, as is mentioned here, is representing the merciful side. The rootlets find mercy
Mm-hmm.
by piercing through rocks and different hard things, which they shouldn't be able to do. Maybe that points to the fact that it's easy, and maybe the easiest for the, what would we call this, the vegetable side or the physical side of humanity or of creation to find mercy, because it's the most in need, perhaps. It's the one with the least amount of power.
Yeah.
So it's the best candidate for receiving the mercy.
So it's a representative, or there's a manifestation of mercy on the root and rootlets, for example.
Yes.
So we can see it clearly.
So, okay. So just because I don't have much I could say, I have some I have a lot of conjectures in my mind of what this could mean, but I don't want to share them now because they're not so developed.
Okay.
I don't understand them myself. So what we can say with this is that, in basic, the material, the physical side, is the most in need, because it has the least amount of ability to do anything, to find mercy. And so it's actually a contradiction or a paradox that it finds mercy the easiest.
Yeah.
Okay. Its needs are provided the easiest or the most efficiently, the fastest, the quickest. Okay.
Yes, you're right.
The second part of this text is that it is about miracles.
Yes.
And how the miracles, there are two verses from the Quran, two ayat, that were talked about. One refers to Moses or Musa alayhi salam, and the other refers to Abraham or Ibrahim alayhi salam.
Yeah.
When we talk about miracles, I think we need to think, what is a miracle? How do we consider miracles in our everyday lives? The general understanding of a miracle in American culture and Turkish culture, as I've seen, are usually very much the same, despite the fact that one might call himself a believer of such and such religion. The Muslim belief is not much different, the average Muslim's belief is not much different than the average Christian's belief or the average non-believer's belief in a lot of ways.
Really?
That's what I've seen in my daily experience. What does that mean? It means that none of us are really thinking of what a miracle actually means.
Oops.
We're all the same. We are all at the same level. We might use the same word.
Is it wrong? Or do we consider it wrong?
What would you say when you first hear a miracle? What first comes to your mind? Or
Extraordinary thing.
An extraordinary thing. Good, that's good. So an extraordinary thing. An extraordinary thing means that there is an ordinary.
Yep.
Okay. So
I expect so.
yes, to be able to say extraordinary.
So there's a standard.
There's a normal. There's a standard. There's an ordinary.
Who puts the standard there?
Let's not go into that yet.
Okay.
But to understand how we define miracle in our everyday life, whether we're Muslims, Christians, Jews, atheists, whatever.
Okay.
The understanding of a miracle means something that breaks the ordinary.
Yep.
Okay. I don't necessarily agree with that understanding of miracle. I think that's maybe the first step in being able to understand miracles.
What's your theory?
My understanding is if we can read the verse itself, I'd like to start with the second one because it's easier for me to explain this with the miracle from Abraham, which is the English, "O fire, be coolness and peace," and if you could read the Arabic.
Ya naru kuni bardan ve salama.
Okay, so which, "O fire, be coolness and peace." We know the story.
Yep.
That Abraham was thrown into the fire, and the fire didn't burn him,
Yep.
and it didn't freeze him.
Yep.
Okay, it turned into a
Peaceful place.
A peaceful place for him. Okay, be coolness and peace. And so we say, wow, that's extraordinary. Fire doesn't burn. In fact, it's a peaceful place for him. That's amazing. It should burn him.
Yep. Normally.
Normally it should. Why does fire burn in the first place? Is a question now we can ask.
Fire burns.
Fire burns.
Yeah. Doesn't it?
Doesn't it? It does.
It does. Apparently it does.
It does burn.
So are you asking if it's burning a fact or whatever it is the extraordinary thing in the first place, huh?
Yes, that's what I'm asking. You understood where I'm going. Let's go step by step to reach that.
Okay.
That when we see a miracle that happens, okay, or we hear about a miracle that the fire didn't burn, we shouldn't take this this instance as a historical thing. Yeah, Abraham wasn't burned in the fire. This happened in the past. It's just a historical lesson for us. We shouldn't think of it like that. This is going to show us the truth. With this, the fact that the fire didn't burn gives us the ability to ask the question, why does fire burn in the first place?
Yeah. Why? Why?
Why? Can we cite a reason as to why fire should burn?
Nope. Fire just burns.
It burns. It happens. I'm not denying that. But is there anything more special about it not burning than it's burning?
Nope.
No. What this means is a miracle.
The both alternatives are equally miracle.
Yes, exactly. They're both miraculous.
Crazy. Yeah.
So that means...
Man, fire burns. Look at that.
Yes, exactly. We could never ask this question in the first place if we never heard of an instant when fire didn't burn.
The burning situation of fire becomes standard or normal.
Exactly.
So that we just put it a name. This is what happens normally.
Exactly.
When it doesn't happen once, it becomes a miracle.
Yes, but that's only the first step in understanding miracle.
Okay.
The next step is to ask the question, wait a second, why does fire burn in the first place? If we don't ask that question, we've done injustice to the miracle itself. We've done injustice to the verse in the Quran.
Oops.
Because we're supposed to use our human abilities to think, well, wait a second, this is not just a historical thing. God is not telling me this story so to improve my ability to know history.
Yep.
That doesn't make sense. That's not the point. So, but to see everything as a miracle of His creation. Fire's burning is a miracle, and fire's not burning is a miracle. Both are equal.
Okay.
So there is no ordinary.
In creation.
Of course. There's
Okay.
no real ordinary. It's all miraculous. A miracle of creation and a miracle of power, if you want me to put it in a way. It shouldn't happen on its own.
Yeah.
So, to give some...
It cannot happen on its own. Yeah. That's the definition of miracle in Arabic.
Exactly. Yes, and so the...
Mu'jize.
Mu'jize,
Mu'jize.
which comes from the same root as completely weak.
Yeah.
Okay? The other one that we were talking about, the extraordinary, is actually mu'jibe.
Okay.
They are very similar. If our audience knows Arabic, they can think of this. In fact, mu'jibe comes from the root that it is a strange thing. It's an abnormal thing. We usually don't use the Quranic understanding of miracle when we talk about miracles.
Huh. Yeah.
We're using a different understanding. That's the thing that I wanted to point out here.
Okay.
And I think we can understand this. So we have to really think about what miracle means, how the Quran uses it, what does it mean? It's something that it leaves us completely impotent.
Yeah.
Okay, and realize that actually fire is impotent to burn and not to burn. That's all I have.
Both equally. Yeah. So when we faced with a situation miraculous, we should think of the other position or all the other alternatives also miraculous too.
Yes.
If it is created, we are unable to replicate it. The thing itself is unable to do it. So it's miraculous in any way.
Exactly.
Okay.
I think this is a good stopping point.
Yep.
The only way to be able to do this, though, is to not historicalize the Quran, to put it into a historical context and leave it there. So in our own readings, let's be sure not to do this. Thank you. Please leave your questions and comments. We'll see you next time.
Bye.